जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा निताय गौर हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। श्री निताय गौरंग की, श्री श्रीनिवास गोविंद की, श्री लक्ष्मी नरसिम्हानंद देव की, श्री कृष्ण बलराम की। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके Bhaktir Bhavati Naisthiki. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 18, Text 43. Sri Purur Uvacha Konuloke Manushyendra Pitur Atmakritah Puman Pratikartum Kshamo Yasya Prasadad Vindate Param. Konuloke Manushyendra Pitur Atmakritah Puman Pratikartum Kshamo Yasya Vindate Param. Tripururvacha Konuloke Manushyendra Makutah Puman Kamo Yasya Prasadad Vindate Padam. Tripururvacha Konuloke Manushyendra Suratma Krutah Puman Kartum Shamo Yasya Prasadad Vindate Param. Sri Pururvacha Konuloke Manushyendra Pitur Atma Krutah Puman Pratikartum Kshamo Yasya Prasadad Vindate Param. Sri Puruhu Uvacha. Puru said, Kaha, what? Nu, indeed, Loke, in this world, Manushya Indra, O your Majesty, best of human beings, Pituhu, the father, Atmakritaha, who has given this body, Puman, a person, Pratikartum, to repay, Kshamaha, is able, Yasya, of whom, Prasadad, by the mercy, Vindate, one enjoys, Param, superior life. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Translation. Puru replied, O your Majesty, who in this world can repay his debt to his father? By the mercy of one's father, one gets the human form of life, which can enable one to become an associate of the Supreme Lord. Please repeat. Puru replied, O your Majesty, who in this world can repay his debt to his father? By the mercy of one's father, one gets the human form of life, which can enable one to become an associate of the Supreme Lord. Purport. The father gives the seed of the body, and this seed gradually grows and develops until one ultimately attains the developed human body, with consciousness higher than that of the animals. In the human body, one can be elevated to the higher planets, and furthermore, if one cultivates Krishna consciousness, one can return home back to Godhead. This important human body is obtained by the grace of the Father, and therefore everyone is indebted to his Father. Of course, in other lives, one also gets a father and mother. Even cats and dogs have fathers and mothers. But in the human form of life, the father and mother can award their son the greatest benediction, by teaching him to become a devotee. When one becomes a devotee, he achieves the greatest benediction because he completely averts the repetition of birth and death. Therefore, the father who trains his child in Krishna consciousness is the most benevolent father in this world. It is said, Janame janame sabe pita mata pai, Krishna Guru nahi mile bhaja hariyai. Everyone gets a father and mother, but if one gets the benediction of Krishna and Guru, he can conquer material nature and return home back to Godhead. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Gnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Tagadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada. So this is a verse spoken by Sri Puru. So you can turn off that. So Sri Puru Vacha Konu Loke Manushyendra Pitur Atmakritaha Puman. So he says, Ko Kaha means anybody. Who in this world? Konu Loke, O Manushyendra. He is calling the emperor as Manushyendra. He is the Indra of the Manushya, O emperor. Who in this world can repay the debt to a father? Kaha Puman Pratikartum Kshamaha. Pratikartum Kshamaha means to repay. Pratikartum Kshamaha means to be able to repay. Who in this world is able to repay the debt to one's father? Whose prasadat vindate param. By the mercy of one's father, one enjoys vindate param, the superior enjoyment, which is the association of the Lord. So, who can repay the debt to his father? So when does this conversation happen? So there is this king called Yayati, right? And he has several sons, the youngest being Puru. Elder than him is Yadu, and there are other sons also. But Yayati, he attains a curse. He gets cursed by whom? By Shukracharya. Because he does not follow the fidelity in his marriage. He goes and has relation with somebody else than his wife, who happens to be the daughter of Shukracharya. So therefore the daughter goes and complains to his father. So my husband has done this. So Shukracharya, out of anger, he curses him. Because you have done this, now you will become old. And then Yayati becomes devastated. Now how can I satisfy my desires if I become old? And he goes and begs forgiveness from Shukracharya. You need to do something about this. Please help me out. I really beg you. So he gives him one method out. What is that? He says, anybody who can exchange their young age with you in return for taking your old age to them, then you can get that. See how wonderful things can happen like that. Getting somebody's young age and giving back old age. So he says, okay, all right, I will try. And then he goes and approaches his sons one after the other. Can you take my old age? And then you can give me your young age, but everybody denies. In the previous class, we have seen how even Yadu denies. Yadu happens to be a great devotee of the Lord. His name also comes in Kunti's prayers. Yadoho priyasyanvavaye malayasyeva chandanam. It is said that Krishna appeared in Yadu dynasty out of his becoming pleased with Yadu. So Yadu is a great devotee, but he denies the father's request. So why does he deny the father's request? Because he knows Krishna is going to be born in his. So, but then Prabhupada also mentions that the deal was not just to get old age, but after he satisfies his desires, he will give back his young age to them and gets back the old age. So it's not that Yadu would be deprived of his young age. But why did he deny that request? No, he is going to become young again. Mm, mm. She's paying more attention to the purports. Right, that's what exactly Prabhupada says. So even though it was told that he would get his young age back once his father satisfies his desires, he would give the young age back to him and get the old age back. It was given. But still, Yadu said, until and unless one goes through the rigors of the young age and satisfies the desires in a grihastha ashrama, and then gradually goes to the old age and takes up vanaprastha and eventually sannyasa, that curve will not be stable. So if prematurely one takes sannyasa and becomes renounced, the desires will remain dormant and therefore one will not stay very stably, is what the argument given by Yadu. So therefore, he said, if I first become old and then I'll wait until I become young again, and again I have to go through the young age and again become old, this is a lot of delay. So he knows that Krishna is going to appear in his family. He didn't want this delay. He wanted that process to kickstart very soon so he can finish his young age and then become old. So now here, very interesting thing to note, because Bhagavatam mentions different things at different times. I brought this up some other time also. During Daksha's son's episode basically. This Daksha first in his later life, after being killed by Shiva, so he becomes the son of Prachetas. And then he has to beget the population. He is Prajapati. And he begets 10,000 sons who are called Haryashvas. He asks them to go and beget further children, enhance the population. They go to this lake where they are practicing austerities. Narada Muni comes and delivers them and makes them brahmacharis. And then that upsets Daksha. Again he begets 1,000 more children, sons called Shavalasvas. And again he sends them, and again Narada Muni goes and delivers them, makes them brahmacharis. And then his plans are foiled. So then Narada Muni goes to Daksha, and then Daksha starts to accuse and blame him and curse him and all of that. So there Daksha gives the argument that, so why are you making them directly brahmacharis? Right? It is first one supposed to go through the regulated life of grihastha, and then when one is satisfied with all that, one can become a stabilized person and they can practice this austerities and sannyasa. But then Prabhupada at that point he gave the example of how it's like arguing only when a mother begets a child, then she will know the pains of labor when she is giving birth to the child. then she will never desire the child because she doesn't want to go through the pains. Daksha's argument is like that. Only when you go through something, then you will know, and then you will come to the point of realization, and detachment will come. If you don't let them go through this, how will detachment come? So Prabhupada gave the example of the mother going through the labor pains so that she won't desire to have the child. But then Prabhupada explains again, very soon they forget all these pains and again they go for next birth. So it's not really that going through something is a guarantee that you will develop detachment and renunciation. It has to come by the mercy of Krishna through a pure devotee. Therefore, that's not what Daksha is saying is not really the practical thing or the effective thing. So for taking to Krishna consciousness, it doesn't depend on that. But then Yadu also is giving the same reason, isn't it? Yadu also is giving the same reason as Daksha is giving. And Prabhupada also is supporting in the purport. In that purport, Prabhupada said that. And in this purport, Prabhupada is supporting Yadu. Why? Huh? Krishna has to come sooner. Intention matters. Yeah. Yeah, intention matters, and then the higher cause. Yeah, true. Both of you are correct. But the point is, for a devotee, Krishna can prescribe different things. It's not that one formula works for everyone. As long as one is a devotee and committed to serving Krishna, Krishna can guide them according to the nature of the devotee. It's not that everybody has to be given the same medicine and same treatment, because everybody is different. But as long as their goal is to become Krishna conscious, and as long as they remain subservient to their spiritual master and Krishna, Krishna can guide them in different ways, which works. Both processes work. But what Prabhupada has given, the process of, like, he has made sannyasis at a very young age. He has preached the disciples, made the disciples without having them to go through the Grihastha ashrama. Typical Varnashrama system is you go through the Grihastha ashrama, Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha and Sannyasa. But Prabhupada didn't wait for all of that, because Kali Yuga in this age, it's not very easy to do that. So that is that. So now, just like Yadu had done that, and people might mistake, hey, why this person is not obeying his father? Is this supposed to be a devotee's behavior? You're supposed to set example. Why this person is behaving like this? So people might say, why this devotee is displaying like this? They could have said that to Kumaras also, when Kumaras denied the request of his father. So a devotee's action many times may be misunderstood. Vaishnavera kriya mudra vigneha na bujaya. A Vaishnava's kriya activities, his behavior, kriya mudra, many times can be misunderstood. I'll give another interesting example of Narada Muni. Who else can we find a great devotee than Narada Muni? So during Vasudeva Devaki Leela, so what did the Akashavani say? That the 8th child of Krishna would kill Kamsa. So Kamsa has put them in prison. And so the first child is born. So Kamsa is about to kill him. But then he looks at Vasudeva, who's been very faithful and true to his word. And he gives him back saying, I'm very impressed by your loyalty and truthfulness. I'm nothing to be harmed by this child. It's the 8th child that is a trouble for me, so you can take your child back. So Vasudeva becomes very pleased and he takes the child back. He's happy. But then Narada Muni comes to Kamsa And this I heard from one devotee in one of Prabhupada's memories. Prabhupada didn't say in a book, but in one of the room conversations, it seems Prabhupada mentioned. So, Narada comes to Kamsa, and basically what he tells him, hey, what are you doing? Why did you give the child back? And Kamsa said, no, 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 it is the eighth child. Akashavani said, the eighth child, that is a problem. And now, you know what Narada said? He showed like this 1, 2, 3, 4. No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you're counting like this. What if you count like this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Or what do you count like this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Or what do you count like 1, 2, 3, 4? So he showed all these combinations. See, anything can be 1 or 8. How do you know what is 1 and what is 8? So anybody can be your enemy. Anybody can kill you. And then Kamsa becomes really upset. He falls into the trap and he says, oh yeah, what you're saying is true. And then he goes and mercilessly kills all these children, one after the other. Then one can think, why Narada Muni, such a great sage, why he is inducing Kamsa to kill these children, small children, innocent children, right? Vaishnavera Kriya Mudra. One cannot really understand the intricacies of the actions of a Vaishnava. But the actual purpose of Narada Muni was to expedite the Lord's appearance. Also, the saint's blessing or a curse is actually a blessing. This month especially we keep talking about the pastime. Nalakuvara and Manigriva. So the children were Shad Garbha Asuras. They were supposed to be killed. But of course Krishna would later bring them back, isn't it? How did Krishna bring them back? No, I think from Yamaraj, or is that Sutala planet? Yes. So Krishna, because Devaki asks, can you bring them back? Krishna goes and brings. So Narada Muni knows all these things. So it's not that they're really getting affected by that heinous activity of Kamsa. They're getting delivered. They will be delivered by Krishna, and he's expediting Krishna's appearance. So either Yadu or Kumaras or Narada or any great devotee, whatever actions they do, it may seem to be controversial, but it is for a great purpose. So now, what Puru, now Yadu denied, and then the request came to Puru. And now Puru is saying this, oh, a father should be respected. Pitur Atmakritaha, my body has been given by a father. And Konu Manushyendra Pratikartum Kshamaha, who can repay the debt of his father? So Prabhupada mentions the importance of the father, that even cats and dogs have fathers and mothers, but in the human form of life, the father and mother can award their son the greatest benediction by teaching him to become a devotee. Therefore, the father who trains his child in Krishna consciousness is the most benevolent father in the world. But unfortunately, in the present civilization, people don't understand this principle. During Prabhupada's time, devotees were joining the movement. They would go for Harinam Sankirtan, and a dozen devotees will come back joining the movement. So it was becoming so popular, and many parents became frightened. They started accusing, oh, these people are doing brainwash. And they started to file their cases in the courts. And these parents, they have started to complain, and there is a agitation, and there is a group that is formed called Return to personal choice. Return to personal choice. That means these children or whoever is joining the movement, their choice has been taken away. So the parents thought their choice has to be resurrected. So they formed this group with by mixing with somebody called deprogrammers. So basically they're saying we are programming the children's minds or these youngsters' minds. So they need to be deprogrammed, and that is called return to personal choice. And so, the Ted Padrick, who was actually a criminal, who was an ex-convict, and who was released, and who was again jailed. So his background is like that. He was the leader of the deprogramming group. He would kidnap these devotees. He would program them. He would torture them. And many devotees also, this is not just from Hare Krishna group, many other spiritual faiths, he would kidnap them and deprogram them. And they would become brainwashed. Things like that were happening. But then there is this union that was formed called ACLU, American Civil Liberties Union, that came to the rescue of the devotees. So what they said is, we are the Civil Liberties Union. What is being done is unfair. These deprogrammers, the deprogrammers had US law also to their side. It seems there is a law called conservatorship. Anybody knows that? Conservatorship. So what it basically means is, if somebody has been addicted to drugs, or they are not sane in their behavior or mind, or if they had been fraudulently and in that manner taken away by somebody, they can be brought back and be handed over to a mental hospital or some treatment where they are given conservatorship of that person. So they were taking shelter of that law, these deprogrammers. So we need to hand over these youngsters to this conservatorship. But then this American Civil Liberties Union, they were quoting, you are accusing the devotees to do this, you are also doing the same. You're going and brainwashing and all that. So, but the difference, this Ted Padrick also admitted later on in the interview, the difference between other spiritual groups and Hare Krishna group was, many devotees, even though in the initial stages they were getting deprogrammed and going back to their material life, but when they meet a devotee again, they would come back. So there was one devotee called Vasugopal Das, who in the beginning, he was deprogrammed. He was taken away, and this Ted Patrick, he deprogrammed him. And so he took to again karmi ways, materialistic ways. So one time he was walking and he met one devotee selling Krishna book. This devotee didn't know that this Vasugopal Das was a devotee, was deprogrammed. And so he took the book, and then suddenly he reminded himself, or everything came to his mind, how he was a devotee and he was practicing this Krishna consciousness. And in the evening he goes back to the temple with the book, and he tells the devotees, hey, you know what? I realized that I shouldn't be buying the book, I should be selling this book. And from here onwards, I'm joining the temple back. So he joined the temple back. So like that, he was saying how Hare Krishnas are so powerful, something which is helping them to become really powerful, to withstand the extreme methods of deprogramming. And then they were filing these cases, and Prabhupada was brought to notice how these brainwashing cases are coming up. And Prabhupada said, you should tell the judge that we are not brainwashing, we are brain giving. There is no brain in the first place in the current civilization, and we are actually giving the brain. And you should quote from the scriptures how a real father is somebody who actually can deliver the child from the clutches of birth and death. The judges should read all our literature. And he quoted this shloka from Bhagavatam, that Rishabhadeva's correct. The prayers. Gurur na sasyat, swajano na sasyat, pita na sasyat, janani na sasyat, daivam na tatsyan, na patischa tasyat, na mochayetyas samupeta mrutyum. So, real father is somebody who can deliver the child from the clutches of mochayetyas samupeta mrutyum, birth and death. So, and then eventually they won. Eventually they met success, and of course the movement continued to spread. Prabhupada said, as long as we are sincerely serving Krishna, Krishna will make us victorious. Another disciple was saying that Prabhupada, my father said, what did he say? I noted down. So he came to Prabhupada with tears in his eyes, and he said, Prabhupada, my father said that if I continue to have anything to do with this movement, he won't have anything to do with me. And Prabhupada saw my teary state, and with twinkling eyes he said, that's all right. And then, so he said, sometimes Prabhupada would encourage his students to keep good relations with their parents, but he didn't do that with me. He smiled and more or less told me to let it go. Not long after that, in a letter I asked him, are you my real father? He wrote back, you have accepted me as your father, so I have also accepted you as my dear son, as my dear and real son. Dear and real son. The relationship of father and son on a spiritual platform is real and eternal. But on the material platform, such a relationship is ephemeral and temporary. So our real father actually is a spiritual master. The first birth is given by our material father and mother. But the real birth is actually, meaningful birth is when we get initiated. It is said that the father is the spiritual master and the mother is the Vedic literature becomes the mother. So that is the real birth. Dvija means the second birth, one who gets the second birth. So our spiritual master is the real well-wisher. That's why you see Prabhupada, wherever he writes, your ever, what is that? Your ever well-wisher. Because he is the true well-wisher of all of us. There was another devotee called Gargamuni Prabhu. So his brother is Brahmananda Prabhu. He already joined. Brahmananda Prabhu already joins before Gargamuni Prabhu. So his name was Greg or something. Anyway, so he starts to attend the classes. And then he sees when Prabhupada comes, everybody is bowing down. But he is not bowing down. And then one class happens and he asks the question, Swamiji, I have a question. Why these people are all bowing down? I don't feel like bowing down. I don't want to bow down if I don't have the feeling. Huh? And then Prabhupada tells him, no, if you bow down, the feeling will come. Anyway. So you should do that. And then eventually he does that, and later on he becomes initiated devotee. He's given the name Gargamuni. So the mother comes. So before that, Prabhupada tells, he tells all these instructions. You should treat your parents very nicely as Krishna's representatives. You should respect them, bow them. So Brahmananda one time goes to home, knocks the door. The mother opens, nobody is there. And where is Brahmananda? He's bowing down on the floor. And then she's frightened, like, what happened to him suddenly? What is he doing all this? So, and then she comes later on. Both sons now became devotees and joined the movement. So she comes to meet Prabhupada, and they would be having a discussion, some debate kind of thing. So why would you do this? And Prabhupada gives obviously Krishna conscious reasons, and maybe We are not forcing anybody. They are coming out of their will. And this is the real path. This is a path which can take them back to the real father in all of this. And somehow she's upset with all that. And not only that, Prabhupada in the end, while she is about to leave, can you give some donation to the movement? And she says, you've already taken whatever I have. Both the sons are gone. You still want more on top of it. So, but yeah, Prabhupada knows that she'll be really benefited. One who becomes a devotee actually does the best benefit to their parents, because Krishna takes care much better than what they can ever hope to take care. In fact, by being materialistic, they will be completely neglected, like what we are seeing now. The parents are not cared for. Only a devotee has good sense, and Krishna actually takes care of the parents. And up to 14 generations actually, they are liberated if one becomes a devotee. So what more best service you can do as a child? And what more best service you can do as a parent than enabling your child to become a devotee? So that's what Prabhupada concludes here. Janame janame sabe pita mata pai, Krishna guru nahi mile bhaja hari ai. So what does it mean by that? Janame janme sabe pita mata pai. Everyone gets a father and mother in every life, but Krishna guru nahi mile bhaja hari ai. But if one gets the benediction of Krishna and Guru, he can conquer material nature and return home, back to Godhead. I'll stop there. Anybody has any questions or comments? Yeah. Yeah. What are the benefit the child gets? Uh-huh. No, 14 generations apply either upwards or downwards. If the parent become a devotee, and the child also becomes liberated. If the child, of course, already is a devotee, then obviously he is already liberated. Same rule applies, upwards and downwards. No, if anybody becomes a devotee, 14 up, 14 down. Yeah, whatever. You, yes. If the only child had become devotee, 14. The parent also had become from him 14. So, yeah, one added, yes. Yeah. So, does that clarify your question? Krishna will somehow he will somehow help. If you become a devotee, to the extent that you have somehow, in favor of Krishna's service, you have left them. If you have taken care of them, not being a devotee, you already are on the material path. But if you have forsaken them for the service of Krishna, then Krishna will consider, okay, he has sacrificed. So whether you are a devotee or pure devotee, that element of you giving up the path of material path and you surrendered to Krishna, whether you became pure or not, because for Krishna you have forsaken them, so Krishna takes care of them. So naturally. You may not have attained Paramvir Chakra and died on the battle, but still you are in the army. So the government has to take care. Right? Okay. Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. So birthdays announcements are done, right? Only one. So we have to do the book distribution goal setting. Should we do here itself? Where is Prema Rasa?
Hare Krishna, Hare
So
Krishna.
the book distribution goal setting, before people lose their focus, let's do it now itself. So 111,000, how many books goals? 1100. Okay, okay. Okay. So as you know, Gita Marathon is coming up, and we have called a special guest to inspire us all, coming all the way from